on this computer. Being recorded.
All right, and about to go live.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the opening presentation of the Sacred Lands, Sacred Sites group, tied in directly with our friends in the Water group, where we're going to hear about the World Water Law today. This is a great way to start, I think, teamed up with our friends in the World Water Law, because these things are working together. I've been a part of both, happily a part of both, and realize more and more as we go along. This is part of that unity. This is part of that teamwork, combining things, because none of these things will do what we want them to do in a vacuum. It just can't happen. Um, the World Water Law won't happen if we don't have support of other groups. Sacred sites won't be saved if it's not connected to other things. Climate change is going to continue to grow unless we unless we deal with social inequality, and on and on and on. This is like one connected circle. It's not like one connected circle, it is one connected circle, and we're all in it. So I'm happy to see you here today. I think most of who we expected to be here is here. Um, I think how we're going to do this is we're going to do some introductory things, and then we're going to get into a discussion of the World Water Law, which my good friend Shelley is going to be leading. One half of the World Water Law brain team. Um, Afterwards, our friend Laura was kind enough to agree to be here also, and she's going to present us with a water ceremony. Laura is a mover and shaker in Hawaii, Mauna Kea. She was connected with Standing Rock, as many of us were. And so once again, we see all those connections weaving in and out, and that's a beautiful thing. So I think what I'll do is people talk. Well, no, maybe we should introduce people if we're going to do this as a talking circle. So those who are on the panel today are myself, Jim Graywolf, who some of you know. Um, my wife's here, Sue, calling in. Tanja is here. She's been the other one really spearheading this whole week with me, taking care of most of the technical stuff, where we wouldn't be here today broadcasting. We'd be talking to each other, which I guess would be fine too. Chief Phil should be here shortly. I know Brother Phil said he would be here. LauraSa, I already mentioned. Who am I missing? Well, Shelley and her partner, Jan. I don't know if Jan's here, but Shelley is here. She will lead things on the world water part, the prime part of this piece. And our two great partners from England are here, Krista and Louisa, who are dealing with the Stonehenge um, assault. I think that's a fair word, as they're trying to demean another sacred site. And others here are joining to be part of this discussion, and I think others will. For those of you who see this later, connect up with any of us or all of us. We welcome the support. We need to be doing this together. When I put this up and some of the other programs we have, we're getting tons of response, and that's great to see. And these things are being shared all around. So I know, as is usually the case when we do these live things, 98% of the audience is after the fact on the recorded thing. So we welcome you. You're a part of this right now, even if you're watching this 2 days later. Just a couple quick words now on this group, the Sacred Land, Sacred Sites group. We started this, a few of us, Tanya, myself, Krista, Louisa, and Eliane from India, who's probably not going to be here this morning because it's probably the middle of the night for her, with no anticipations. We really didn't think it would get that big. We thought it would support other things. Instead, we've just got a steady barrage of different presentations, different thoughts. And that's wonderful and so great to see. Many of them around water, which didn't surprise me. I expected that. Water is the prime sacred site on the planet, in my opinion, and the opinion of many. Collectively, water is one huge, great sacred place that we can all access. So we will be having some amazing programs. Our friend Ben, who's leading World Unity Week, and his family will be presenting on the Mungo man and woman. I think for the first time ever, a complete program on them later in the week. We have Aboriginal folks coming from Australia to be with us, virtually, not physically. And I got it confirmed yesterday after a lot of phone calls. The Kogi will be with us on Thursday morning. They want to share some things and some new things and some thoughts on what's happening and what's next. That's going to be an amazing offering. They're coming from home, from in their forest, in their jungles, and they have to do it during the day because they don't use electricity there. So they would not be visible at night, and they want to make sure we get to see them and they get to see us. So more of that. So stay tuned. I mean, that's just a few. There's a host of programs all week. Go to our site, go to our Trello board, go to our Facebook event, and you can see a whole list of what is coming up. So with that, until Brother Phil gets here, I'm going to turn it over to my wife, Sue, and she's going to welcome us in with a song. I'm not sure which one, because this was unplanned.
Hi, everyone. I'm so grateful to be here. And I thought this one, since we are all one, and this is Unity Week, I thought I'd sing this one first. It's called We Are One. It's one I wrote a few years back. We are the mountains that we see. We are the trees so tall. We are the eagle in the sky. We are one, both you and I. We are the stars that shine so bright. We are the worm that crawls. We are the grasses swaying free. We are one, both you and me. Hey yo, weana, hey. Hey yo, weana, ho. Hey yo, weana, hey na ho, hey na, hey ya ho. Hey yo, weana, hey. Hey yo, weana ho. Hey yo, weana, hey na ho, hey na, hey ya ho. We are the sparkle in our eyes. We are the one we see. We are the moon so shining bright. We are one, both you and me. We are the life around us, connected to all we see. And know that life that's everywhere is within both you and me. Is within both you and me. Is within both you and me. Oh.
Couldn't find my unmute. Thank you. That was awesome. Well, I don't see Phil yet, so nope. I think,
Jim,
I
do you
don't
want
know.
me to call Phil?
Do you have his number? Yeah, if you could, that'd be great. Let me, while Laura's doing that, everybody, when you're not talking or presenting, remember to keep your mics off. I almost forgot to do that on mine. I think I'm going to open or begin to open at least the directions before Phil comes. I started burning some sage earlier and I was doing some prayers with some of the folks I was talking to. So I guess I'm ready, even though I didn't know I would have to be ready. We give thanks, Creator, for being allowed to bring this circle together today. We thank you for those who are here. We thank you for those who are connected to us. We thank you for those who will see this later. We thank you for this great effort of Unity Week. We thank you for the ability to come together, to meld hearts so we can do this work and move things ahead now in a good way. We ask you to give us all that we need now, to provide all the resources, all the energy, all the understanding, all the wisdom that we need to do this work. We ask this not for ourselves, but so we may help to heal the sacred hoop wherever it is broken. Matakuyase, all my relations. Ancestors. Ancestors of the East, the time of spring. Some say we're in the spring now, building new, going into things in a good way, planting the garden with no fear, no doubts, no anxiety, being sure that everything will grow the way we want it to. We ask you to be with us today because we need that energy. People are having a hard time, many people. Many people are unsure what is happening. And so we need that energy of the East to allow us to continue to build and to grow in a good way. Thank you for being with us, all my relations. Ancestors of the South, summertime of the medicine wheel. We thank you for being here because this is hard work now. This is the work of building, of creation, of procreation, of strong backs. So we thank you for the young ones. We thank you for the young people, and we hope we see many of them here this week. They are the ones working in the South. They are the ones who are using their strong backs, their strong arms, and their strong legs. And we thank you for that so that things may grow. The Takuyase, all my relations. Ancestors of the West. The older ones, the teachers, the place of the teachers. The place of those of us who are using our minds now more and our backs less. As our legs get a little weaker, as our backs can't lift as much, our minds are clear. We've learned a lot. We've made many mistakes, and so we've learned even more. We are here to share down with the younger ones so they don't need to make the same mistakes. They can find some new ones, and then they can do that with those who follow them. We thank all the teachers for being here in the fall of the medicine wheel. I thank my nation, the Wolf Nation of the West, and ask them to protect us and be with us and keep reminding us that it's all about community. It's all about family. It's all about having fun as you do the hard work. It is about security. It is about protection, but it's also about fun and joy. I thank the Wolf Nation, Sogmanatu Tanka, for doing that work so that we can do all that we're meant to do. Om Matakuyase. And ancestors of the North, the place of the old ones. White buffalo calf woman, black elk, the white buffalo, the bear. All of you in the North who are dealing with things that will come, reminding us that this is a circle. And as we move into death, we don't really die. We're just changing positions, changing energy. We're moving into a new spring. And we thank you for that. We thank you for the wisdom, for pulling together the knowledge in a way that provides wisdom. Please continue to work with us because we need that energy now. Om Matakuyase. And finally, Father Sky and Mother Earth, probably the two most important directions to us right now. We thank you. We thank you for your patience as we humans keep tripping over our own feet. We thank you for your energy. We especially thank you for that model that men and women can come together in complete harmony as you demonstrate the male and the female, and which is critical now for this growth time for us to be successful. Thank you for that. Mother Earth, thank you for not shaking we humans off the robes and giving us more time. We are coming around. There's a lot more of us than ever before. Today we talk about the World Water Law, a way that we hold your waters sacred, a way that we propose to help clean your blood so that we may do our work and help to heal the sacred hoop wherever it is broken. Om Takwiyatsi. And I see that the timing is beautiful. I see that Brother Phil just walked in, and that's great. We'll turn it over to Brother Phil.
Well, Mitaki Epi, I was getting ready for that sparkle verse room. So that's why I had this background. I picked it up and I had the dark glasses on, a thing I had on. I said, Earthlings, we have arrived. Anyway, let me 1 second here, 1 moment here. Let me see if I can't change that background. Hang on, there we go. There we go. Okay. Here we go. Okay, great. You know that these crises, this COVID-19, this fastly emerging runaway climate change, which we're not careful is going to happen. At that point, we're going to be helpless. This focus we're doing to have people understand the sacredness of water, the sacredness of life, the sacredness of who we are as a human family. We each are a sovereignty, ancient and perishable and everlasting. That happens when we're conceived in this physical time and space. And I just want to share this morning this dimension here. And I'm going to sort of focus back on who we are, because I think it's the awakening of who we are, the incredible spiritual beings that we are. The human soul has no gender, race, ethnicity, or class. This reality makes all forms of prejudice, whatever they may be, intolerable and unacceptable. The human soul is not divided. It is a reflection of the oneness of our Creator. All the powers that distinguishes a human being, reason, memory, abstract thought, creativeness, inventiveness, willpower, are all properties of the soul, not the body. Very important. Now, in the spiritual worlds, now we're living in a spiritual world here. This is why this from our elders is so important. In the spiritual worlds, we will recognize one another. We will seek union, a spiritual union. Now, as we know in this world, we find those relatives that we feel so closely that we've known them forever. So here, as we grow in this physical plane of time and space, we're also seeking the spiritual relationship. A love that anyone may have had for anyone will not be forgotten in the spiritual worlds, nor will we forget the life we had in this physical world. So if we align our purpose, we can see clearly from in the womb world, it was there to grow our physical arms and legs and eyes and ears, to grow our womb suit, I call it. And then we were born in this world with great thanksgiving to our mothers. And our purpose here is to grow our spiritual arms and legs and eyes and ears. Because just like I left my womb suit behind, so to speak, I'm soon going to leave my earth suit behind. So I'm building now the spiritual part. That's what we're focused on, to be more kind, more loving, more compassionate, more just, with more integrity, all these things. And that's what you're doing. And Shelley, you've done such an incredible job of this. Jim, my gosh, what you've done at Standing Rock. I'm so impressed and thankful for what you've done, and all of you. And here I see Teresa, Lynn, Sue. My dear, dear sister Laura. God bless you. You have done so well. You have uplifted us and inspired us on Sundays and other days. And I don't know, Shauna, if you can get Shauna. Nice to see you, Shauna, Roberta, all of you. and Sue. And so I just wanted to come and say a big hug to each and every one of you. You know, I have something's come up with my daughter, and I've got to kind of attend to that. And I just ask your forgiveness for first of all, this didn't show up on my Zoom map, my mistake. But I just wanted to be here and just give you my love. And I've got to give my hand to my little family here for a little bit, if I may. So I just give you love and a big hug.
Thank you, Brother Phil.
And again, Jim, my apologies for not being here.
No apologies. Never. We don't need them. There's no time for that.
That exactly. You know something? Doggone it. You just gave me my good day. I'm going to thinking my sisters are waiting. I'm not late. Anyway, have a beautiful day.
And we'll be with you as well, Phil.
Please, and I'm with you. That's what it's about. Okay.
See
Love you
again
all.
soon, I hope.
Yes.
Okay. I think before I flip it over to Shelley, I'm going to ask Sue to do her water song, and we'll bring the water in that way and bring Shelley in that way.
This is an Algonquin water song. And all women of the world are asked to sing this water song at least once in their lifetime. Sing to the water 4 times, once in each direction, east, south, west, and north. Water is sacred. Water is life. Water connects and unites us. It is all women's responsibility to speak for and take care of the water. Nibi wabo and Diane, Aki Miskwi, Nibi wabo, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, ho. Nibi wabo and Diane, Aki Miskwi, Nibi wabo, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, ho. Nibi wabo and Diane, Aki Miskwi, Nibi wabo. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, ho. Nibi wabo and Diane, Aki Miskwi, Nibi wabo. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, ho. Many blessings, thanks, and respect to the Woitasczyk and Commanda families and the Circle of All Nations Foundation for resharing of this song. Thank you.
Thanks, Sue. Perfect lead in. Shelley, if you would step forward, virtually, not physically. And why don't you lead us into the discussion, or start it however you want. I think you have a couple of our amazing videos to share.
Thank you. Thank you, Jim and Tanja, for holding this amazing space for the sacred lands, sacred waters, and all that you do to really bring in the stories from all over the world so that we can unite in service of life, listening to these original stories, listening to these extraordinary activists and guardians of life, as we unite to move forward at this incredible time where there's such a quickening and a urgency for the unification, as well as an opportunity for doing something radically different. And I'm here on behalf of myself and my partner Jan Golding, who are co-initiators for the World Water Law and the Global Alliance for the World Water Law. And I think some of you may know about it. Before I begin, I'm going to ask Tanja if she can just share the little video, which is the very synopsis of the world, of this proposal for a world water law.
We are water.
We, citizens of Earth, call for and commit to working together for the immediate and universal protection of all water.
Is the first vital step towards global cooperation for effective, worldwide social and ecological healing.
The World Water Law requires the uncompromising protection and restoration of all natural water sources, watersheds, aquifers, lakes, wetlands, estuaries, and oceans.
The rewilding of ecosystems necessary for the restoration of the planetary water cycle.
The guaranteed free access of all humans and animals to the natural uncontaminated water.
The World Water Law holds all governments, corporations, communities, and individuals fully accountable for their impact on all waters everywhere.
This one law serves as a unifying foundation for all governments and citizens to work together with community-led wisdom and stewardship councils in ways that effectively serve the health and vitality of the whole.
The World Water Law provides an essential foundation for aligning human laws with the original laws of nature.
This global initiative honors the many water guardians around the world
who have dedicated their lives to the protection and reverence of water on behalf of all life.
Join the Global Alliance for a World Water Law.
And add your voice to make the World Water Law a global reality. Together, we rise for water.
Together, we rise for all of life.
We rise together with the tide. Water's law now must preside. We are water.
Thank you. So this little video really encapsulates the key principles of the proposal for a World Water Law. I think the first principle is, before even those 4 principles, is that it's a citizen-led initiative, which feels really important at this moment, because I think many of us are feeling the immense concern as to what is going on with our current systems at the moment, and recognizing that we cannot leave or expect them to do anything on behalf of the planet in a systematic or a wholehearted way. The systems that are in control at the moment are actually complicit and even facilitating a lot of the damage. And trying to work through the system to change things has not gotten us very far. And I think that we're being called as humanity at the moment to step up into our full authority and say, what do we do? How do we reclaim our authority and our leadership to make the changes that we want to? And as for many, many years, I've been dreaming into how do we apply whole system healing to the challenges that we face in the world today? How do we think about solutions, not in siloed ways and not in technocratic, bureaucratic ways? Or how do we think about activating, if we were looking at the planet as a living organism from a holistic healing perspective, a holistic healing practitioner, what would they do? How would they think about it? And clearly it would be from looking at what is the root cause of the illness, what is the culture that is creating the illness, and what can we do to address that, build the immune system, and create a different culture that will enable the thriving of all of life. And so there are many different initiatives that I've been involved in. And one of them with Jan was Codes for a Healthy Earth, which offers a whole system healing framework for citizen-led action towards a new way of organizing ourselves as a species. And actually the World Water Law Initiative is the first initiative of Codes for a Healthy Earth. So this is a proposal for a world water law. And why law? Many people ask why law? And the reason is because our current systems, we believe anyway that we are bound by human law, laws that were made by humans and that are completely disconnected from life itself. And this experience of being bound by these laws, this illusion that we are bound by the laws, has kept us very small and very dependent. And these laws are fundamentally disconnected from the laws of nature. And at the beginning of last year, when the COVID broke out, I had a very strong vision where I saw humanity uniting around water. That at this time of immense conflict and fragmentation and prejudice and disease, and where the fragmenting virus is going through every aspect of our body and soul, I was seeing humanity uniting around water, that water was the way in which we could move forward as one humanity to elevate ourselves, to take up our role as we move forward towards an evolving consciousness that can work as other species know how to do, in deep honoring and mutual enrichment and reciprocity with all of life, and take up our destiny as a caretaker species. And as I delved deeper into the vision, I saw that what was being called for was a world water law. And as Jan and I worked with these principles, there were 4 very simple principles which are outlined in the law that became apparent. The first of them is, as I said, we as citizens of Earth will work together, will unite to ensure that, 1, the immediate and uncompromising protection and restoration of all planetary waters. And I think an important word here is uncompromising, because there's so much compromise in the system, and that this compromise is what is actually undermining the health of all of life. Just the belief, this ideology of compromise that we have been indoctrinated to believe in, which says we have to compromise, that is the way. It's as if compromise is a part of nature. Nature doesn't compromise. It doesn't say, well, let the stomach get a little bit of this food and the heart get a little bit of that. In nature, in every ecosystem, each part gets precisely what it needs in order to manifest its unique potential in service of the whole. And here we've built an ideology of compromise, which basically allows the privileged to dominate and give a little bit of tidbits to those who are the weaker ones, and that call that compromise. And this is a really uncompromising approach, and especially when it comes to water, the understanding is that we've also learned to believe that toxicity in water is normalized, and that a little bit of damming and taking the waters away and commodification of water is okay. And just because water is so vast, it can tolerate it. And so this undermining, this violation of water at source feels to me such a foundation of the trauma vortex that we're in, that says it's okay to violate water. Just a little bit, just a little bit more, just a little bit more, until we are in the situation where we are today. So this isn't about moving into any kind of compromising relationship with water. It's about going back to what we really understand to be the way of reverence, the way of life, which is to honor source, to honor the mother, to honor that which nourishes us. And so the uncompromising restoration of the waterways may take a while to get there, and people may say that that's unrealistic, but as long as we keep that as the compass, then we can avoid these arguments of tolerating any toxicity and any commodification that then amplifies the culture of greed and of abuse. The second principle, the vision is to prioritize that as the foundation of all health, because when water is the source and the sustenance and the medicine of all life, and it's the foundation of our collective health. And so when we think about whole system health, we think about, well, what is the foundation of health? And we realize that none of us can have health if water is not healthy. So it's an illusion to, to try and give all of these reactive health pharmaceutical processes when we understand that at the source of life, we are undermining the source. And so to start and to create health at source, it starts with the water. So when we look at the quality of our water, I think in most cities, most of us will find that the quality of water is one of the main causes of chronic disease. And that's not to talk about all of the people who don't have access to any kind of water that is remotely clean, that it has so many toxins, if there is any water at all. So cleaning up and protecting the water sources feels as a foundation of our collective healing, and the foundation for the climate and foundation for every aspect of shifting our trajectory towards whole system health. So the next principle, which is also common sense, is the restoration of the rewilding of our ecological systems to enable the planetary water cycle. And that feels also like an essential one to help us remember that water doesn't live in isolation, doesn't exist in isolation, can't manifest herself in her fullest realization in isolation. Instead, she is interwoven with the web of life and works with the entire web of life and all the foundations of life to be able to create the conditions for life to thrive. So if we're going to talk about healing the planetary waters, we need to heal the ecological conditions to enable that water cycle to manifest in its fullest potential. And the third very common sense principle that I think anyone would expect their government to pay attention to, or anyone who is building a community will look to first, and that is to ensure that all humans and animals have guaranteed access to natural, uncontaminated water. This is the way of life. This is the way nature provided, and there is no legitimate reason in the world why this should be prevented by any human being. And so this isn't asking for anything much. It's this normalization of the fact that anyone can take water or commodify water or limit others' access to it the spell needs to be broken, and citizens working together to not only demand that, but to ensure that feels like a foundation for moving forward. And especially understanding, I think today when we begin to realize ourselves as an interconnected living system, we realize that the illusion that one can toxify any waters, that one can take waters from someone else and still have the privilege of natural uncontaminated water for oneself, does not make sense in an interconnected living system, because we realize we are one. Water doesn't have boundaries. And so if our neighbor doesn't have clean water, it's very likely that soon we won't have clean water either. And that the quality of the water is going to be dependent on the entire water body. We know from COVID, we know from the nuclear leaks, we know from all the plastics in the oceans that nothing has boundaries, and that the water we drink in one place and that we look after in one place will tomorrow be somewhere else, together with that quality of what we put inside it. And the fourth principle, which I feel is very impactful and also pretty obvious and common sense, is that we hold everybody, all corporations, governments, communities, individuals, accountable for our impact on all waters everywhere. And this common sense principle, putting accountability into the system, sounds like a radical idea. The idea that we are not accountable feels not only perverse, but absolutely suicidal. And this lack of accountability enables everything that's happening today. And just by putting accountability into the system, by demanding accountability and transparency and working to make it happen, will change everything, because much of the violation of water happens behind closed doors. It happens in a very untransparent way. The minute we start to open the lid on what's happening where, there will be a real change in the world. So the accountability is something that when we put it into the system and all of these different principles, the idea is that it doesn't happen locally in any one place, that the world water law is envisioned as a process that happens simultaneously globally everywhere, not by any dependence going to any one government, the United Nations, any one leader, but rather by a global uprising for water, with this common vision, these common principles, this common purpose, this common pathway, to say, how do we do this? There isn't a 5-year plan for this with a clear strategy. There is an invitation, it's a vision, it's an idea whose time has come. It has come through the collective consciousness to say, humanity, this is an offering now. Water is leading the way. How do we, each of us, take up our role in making this happen on behalf of all of life? So these are some ideas that I'd like to just start the conversation with and share with you, and invite any questions or discussion or about how to move forward. And just to also say that we have created a global alliance for a world water law, which invites everybody in to take their role, to come and bring your creativity, your genius to making it happen. There's also a world water community platform, which invites people all over the world to come together and share ideas and organize around water. And they're partnering with the World Water Law to provide an amazing space for this kind of citizen-led self-organization. And there are so many solutionaries around the world. There are so many extraordinary people from all walks of life, all countries, doing amazing things to support, to protect water, to heal water, to address many of the collective issues that we have. And what I'm seeing is that we're all working very much in our particular field and in our particular locality. And yet when we come together, when we unite for this, we can amplify our efforts exponentially. And that's the vision, and that's the hope, that when we come together and we start to ask this question together, how do we make the world water law a global reality in the shortest amount of time possible, and realize that we are not bound by the laws that exist. They only have their validity and authority if we give them the authority. And it's time to come up with something better. And this one law, if we can get behind this one law and make that happen, we will realize that it can activate a whole transformation of our legal system, of our justice system, political system, economic system, agricultural system, everything. So the invitation at this particular moment in time, as we're understanding just how critical the water situation is, this extraordinary opportunity to come together around changing everything through this one simple law that, if we all pick up, can really make us all co-creators of the reality for a thriving world for all of life. So that's an introduction, and I'd love to just hear resonances and questions.
Thanks, Shelley. One thing as you were talking, and of course it's come to me many times, but I saw that Louisa said all these little bits of water come together and you have a river. And yeah, I remember we said at the beginning, when these things start flying together, you have a tsunami. So we want to be riding the tsunami of this as it comes forth. I'm also thinking of our sister, LaDonna, again. And I know we've brought her in many times, LaDonna Brave Blue Howard, who the young people went to start Standing Rock, and who was the one who told us how to create the virtual realm of that. And when we started Standing Rock, the big thing we said is we are the media, because no one else was covering it. Well, the water law is the same thing. We are the water law, not some government entity. That's never going to work, as Shelley said. Not some rich folks who are making money off of it. That's never going to work. It has to be us once again. And I think Standing Rock provided the model for that. We just we need to grab onto that and follow it. That's my thoughts. And I could see her dancing once again, by the way, as you were talking.
Yeah, thank you so much for bringing in LauraSa, because it feels so important to acknowledge her in this. I know that I would not have been available to receive the vision for the World Water Law had it not been for Standing Rock. So I'm deeply indebted to Standing Rock for waking me up as a person, as a citizen of the world, to the sacredness of water and how this extraordinary community stepped forth to protect the sacred at great, great risk to themselves, and began to start learning about this more and more. And we were very blessed that LauraSa was the first person to give her give an endorsement for the World Water Law, which is an enormous blessing. And big thanks to Jim for the bridging her and the World Water Law. And what a blessing that was to receive that endorsement and to envision, how can we make Standing Rock everywhere? This and learn the lessons from Standing Rock, learn the lessons from all of these places that are being held with such sacredness by the indigenous people, and support them and their sacred lands and through the World Water Law, because the World Water Law basically honors all of those who have come before, particularly the indigenous people who've been holding the waters in such a sacred way and the lands in such a sacred way, and calling us to become alert to what is happening. And so the vision is also to position the World Water Law in a way that is deeply supportive of, and it can't be otherwise, of these indigenous lands, indigenous people, the sacred lands, and to see how to weave them together. We know that we cannot roll out the World Water Law without turning to the indigenous people for the wisdom and knowledge that they hold, for how to make sure that this is done with the deepest integrity. And we cannot do it also without protecting them and their waters and the lands that they are protectors of. So they are one and the same in many ways. And on Wednesday, tomorrow, we're going to have a day in the Uniting for Water room, which will bring together amazing indigenous wisdom keepers from around the world to share their stories and to talk about the World Water Law and talk about this coming together of the World Water Law and the indigenous peoples in a way that can be both supportive of the law and supportive of all of that they're holding.
I don't see hands up, but I have a sense that Louisa might want to say something. Am I wrong, Louisa? Oh, tough internet. Okay.
Yeah, no, I can try, but if I dip out, just stick your hand up. There's a few things that came up there that I wanted to sort of inject into, but the last bit is you were talking about protecting the indigenous who are protecting the waters, and it reminds me of one of the things that's going on with Stonehenge. We all see the big megalithic circle, but actually the site is much bigger than that. But the important thing is actually the downs upon which it stands is an entire ecosystem which is going to be under threat by the work that they're going to be doing, especially the aquifer and all the springs that feed all the lands around it, which feeds all of the wildlife around it, that creates the unique environment that the Downs actually is. So yeah, what you're doing and what you're saying is vitally important on every level, isn't it, really? So thank you, Shelley. And the other thing I wanted to mention as you were talking, I went to one of my favourite rivers the other day, and I sat and did a little blessing at the river and had a conversation. And she reminded me of how all of the medicine that we need, as I was sort of looking at this beautiful hawthorn in flower dripping over the river. And it's like, yes, all of the medicine drips into the river. It gets carried everywhere you need it. And then here we are in our country, all of our water is in a tap. Okay, we're lucky. It's all in a tap, but it's all got fluoride and chlorine and bromide and God knows what else they want to put in it for your health and betterment. But they strip out all of the healing medicine that the river has gathered through her journey and her walk, and all of that's been done under this sort of veil of fear that, oh, you might get liverwort. Well, why would you get liverwort? Because we've put too many sheep or too many cattle on a land that doesn't support sheep and cattle. And here we go round and round in this senseless stupidity. And as you say, the compromise is we buy it. Why? Why do we do that? So beautiful from start to finish. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Louisa. Yes, to everything that you said in terms of, just all of these, over the last year, as Jan and I have met, this is actually the anniversary of the World Water Law coming out into public, because we brought it out on the 24th of June last year within the context of World Unity Week. There was a day dedicated to water, and we brought the proposal into the public. And since then, we've been meeting with many, many people from all over the world and hearing stories from scientists and water protectors, and really sensing into how little pure, pristine water there is left on the planet, and how those last spots of water which have been held in their pristine quality for so long are under attack now. And it's globally, wherever you talk, wherever you are in the world, it's these last pieces are now being challenged, being violated, and it's horrific. It's really horrific. And this is the understanding that we can't fight this law by law or country by country, because it's a global threat. And the forces at work are not thinking law by law. They're actually splintering us into believing that there is local control, or that that's feasible. So we have to do something out of the box, which is really unite in a completely different way, also globally, to challenge this at the source and not at the symptom place only. We all have to deal with our local water sources and watersheds, but we have to unite to deal with it at source, to stop any violation, which means that all the different enterprises that abuse water will have to transform or dissolve themselves. Now, people will say, oh, well, that's not possible because we're dependent on all of the jobs, which is another false assumption, because we know that these jobs are not necessary. In fact, there's much healthier ways of organizing at local levels and of completely restructuring our economy, and that there are ways that if we can be brilliant enough to do other things, we can find very, very good ways of transitioning to a healthy economy. All the solutions exist, and everything exists. It's just a matter of being able to see it. So now that as we surface this possibility, it creates more and more opportunity for us to come into alignment, see the possibility, and with that possibility, amplify it. And so hearing you very much around, yes, it's the damming and how that impacts the whole ecosystem. And we need to start working the other way, start protecting the sacred sites, which actually hold, as I understand it, a lot of the codes of the key organs of the body that need to be protected and held in sacredness. And in order, when you protect and you begin to heal those sacred organs, those key organs of the body, it amplifies the healing of the whole. So understanding the role of the sacred sites, or how they've been recognized as sacred sites, the biodiversity around them, the energetic power of these sites to heal the whole. And so that, can you imagine an alliance of all the sacred sites coming together for the World Water Law? Because that would, and this is part of what we want to do, is to create these alliances. So with the World Water Law and the sacred sites, because they are one, and neither can fulfill their potential without the other. We bring in one key global community that understands and that can bring its collective power to this force. And then there are many other communities. I mean, think about it. You can think about women for a World Water Law. Imagine women rising together and saying enough, and the men following them and supporting them and saying, yes, we put water first, because water, women know and understand more intuitively the importance of water. They have the natural historical role of protecting water. So imagine in women's movement, imagine all of these movements of health practitioners and scientists agriculturalists and everybody just saying, yes, this is important. And then we come together with all our unique gifts, complementarities to make this happen. And the Sacred Sites feels like a very, very foundational alliance with the World Water Law that we activate globally. How? Let's figure it out. Let's just bring our hearts and heads together and figure it out. It's the vision that activates the action.
So the other group that's key is the young people.
Mm-hmm.
And so why don't we hear from one of the younger folks in the circle today and bring Tanja up.
Yeah, thank you, Jim. I love being called young people.
It feels good, doesn't it? Hey, take it while you can get it.
I will. Well, Shelley, first of all, thank you so much for the work that you do. I know I signed up last year with the World Water Law to support, because it just so resonated with me when I think it was Jim who forwarded me the information, and I just read through it and I thought, wow, it just resonated deeply on every level in my being. And I so appreciate that you're following the call and that you are putting yourself out there and you are taking this on, because as LauraSa has said before as well, it is vital, right? If we don't have clean water, good soil, and clean air, it's really, really difficult for life to be. So it's the very basic, as you said, the very, very basic layer of what we have to preserve, what we have to protect, and what we have to restore in many areas, because so much of it has already been polluted in one way or another, and we've got to get to restoring those areas. What I'm really curious about is, are there any specific next steps that you're planning in regards to World Water Law? What is the next thing that's up?
First of all, thank you, Tanja, because you are one of those people who have stepped forth and brought your brilliance to it and your support. And that's what's happening, is that people, Teresa's here, she's been extraordinary in bringing her gifts to the World Water Law. Jim's been a partner from the beginning. And so we're really working in a very organic way with those that step forth and say, we've got something to offer. And the World Water Law, it doesn't belong to anyone. As Jim says, we are all the World Water Law. So just it depends on each of us to find how we're supposed to support it. And what Jan and I do is we kind of facilitate and support in the way that we do, and just do what we can to steward, but together with all of these incredible co-stewards that are coming on board. So there are some initiatives that we're participating in and leading, and there's others that are coming from other places. For instance, you're all invited to join the launch of the worldwatercommunity.com on, I think it's Thursday, in the Uniting for Water room. So that's the launch of a platform that can support self-organization, and which will hopefully amp up the conversation a lot. The beautiful thing about this is that it's a mystery about the next steps in many ways. It's for instance, this whole event, World Unity Week, has presented itself as an opportunity that was not anticipated. So here we are, in World Unity Week, and picking up that offering and doing what we can to make the most of it. And it feels that there are many opportunities that will emerge through World Unity Week. There are projects in place, for instance, something to support watershed guardians, communities forming around watersheds. There's research that we're supporting. There's different projects that we're anticipating and supporting, but we feel like at the moment it's these partners that are coming on board, organizations from different sectors that are coming on board and saying, this is what we need to do. So it's a mystery, and it's unfolding and part of the conversation. Jim, you wanted to pass it on to Laura.
Yeah, I think we'll pass it over shortly here, so Laura can bring in the energy of that. Maybe we can go. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Bring in some ceremony. Maybe we'll go through
Beautiful.
Sue if she's ready to do. I'm just feeling like the grandmother song should be part of this too, since you brought that. She's frowning, but I think she'll do it. Oh no, now she's smiling. You have to unmute.
It's like you, Jim, just to throw me into the wolves there.
You're welcome. There are wolves.
No. See if the drum sounds. I hear the voice of my grandmother calling me. I hear the voice of my grandmother call. She says, wake up, children, wake up, listen, listen. May the rivers all run wild, may the mountains go unspoiled, may the air be clean, may the trees grow tall, may there be love for every mother and child, may there be love for every woman and man, may there be love for every being on this earth. I hear the voice of my grandmother calling me. I hear the voice of my grandmother call. She says, give life, give birth, mother, give life, give birth. Listen, listen. May the rivers all run wild, may the mountains go unspoiled, may the air be clean, may the trees grow tall, may there be love for every mother and child, may there be love for every woman and man, may there be love for every being on this earth. I hear the voice of my grandmother calling me. I hear the voice of my grandmother call. She says, stand in your power, people, stand up in your power. Listen, listen. May the rivers all run wild, may the mountains go unspoiled, may the air be clean, may the trees grow tall, may there be love for every mother and child, may there be love for every woman and man, may there be love for every being on this earth. I hear the voice of my grandmother calling me. I hear the voice of my grandmother call. Listen, 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 listen. Oh.
That was great. Thank you. Oh, just a couple connecting threads and then we'll shift it right over to Laura. As you were singing that, I remembered our other friend from Stonehenge is here, Krista, our sister. And I think about 8 years ago, we went to Great Britain. We went into Stonehenge, we did ceremony. You drummed, we sang with a group. And then we went around Great Britain, sharing our words, sharing our songs, doing drum circles. And Krista was in one of those circles. So go figure. Now here we are working together our little way on Stonehenge, their big way. And I watched the fire lighting ceremony at Stonehenge the other that last night, I guess. And they were singing a song, and one of the main parts of the song were the words, "The sound of the river as it moves across the stones." So even when we have something that looks like it's a stone monument, the water's there. And with that thought, let's send it over to our sister Laura, who will bring us into a spiritual place, I know.
Thank you, Jim. It's an honor to be here with everyone. Aloha talofa. I was hoping to hear from Krista first. Krista, you sure you don't have anything that you really want to share that's
Yeah,
burning?
Krista,
It's
come
not
on.
burning. I just wanted to briefly say, because Jim reminded me of the song which we sang last night and the night before at Stonehenge. We are still under lockdown, so this was all very illegal. They tried to keep us out on solstice, and of course they couldn't. But the song goes, "The sound of the river as it moves across the stones is the same sound the water makes across your bones." And then it goes, "Are you listening? Are you listening? Are you listening?" And it just is a song again about that we are all connected, that it is all very similar. And Laura, while you encouraged me, I'm now not stopping. I just wanted to say one more thing. Shelley, when I listened to you before, it reminded me very much. I had a conversation with one of the presenters working with sacred circles here in the UK. And we kind of came up with this idea of that it almost seems a bad word these days to say the sacred. But of course, before we understand really deeply and properly again that water is sacred, that all of life is sacred, can we shift it from a commodity, because we turn everything into a commodity, into something we really value? And I think this is a really important aspect when we talk about water, that it is the base of life. It is absolutely sacred and it is not a commodity. And now I stop. But I find it really, really important to make that shift in consciousness. It's a huge shift, but it has to be done. Because as long as we treat things as a commodity, as long as they are for sale, they are not sacred. That's it from me. Thank you, Laura, and I'm muting again.
I knew you had much to share. Jim, how much time do we have? I want to make sure I honored the time.
Well, it's supposed on at 11:30, but I think we can go over that. There's nothing right behind us. Is that okay, Tanja? She's in the control booth.
I have something 15 minutes after, so we have half an
Okay.
hour.
Okay.
Okay, wonderful. I am so honored to be here. I was thrilled when Jim had reached out to me yesterday. For many days now, I've been talking with my Oceania sister, Auntie Pukili. She and I do water ceremonies, guided meditations, raising consciousness about the sacredness of water. And we do it with another organization called the Water Peace Project, which honors the work of Dr. Emoto and continues his legacy. And so every month, I'm the mana keeper. So I bring in the different elders to come and share their wisdom about water. And it's been so amazing to be able to connect with other water protectors, water keepers. And so when I first learned about the water law, I really just couldn't even believe it. It's like, is this for real? I mean, who would have the audacity to take that on, to create a worldwide water law? But my whole body got just goosebumps all over, which for me is an affirmation from the Creator, from the ancestors, that you're right on point. I just want to say, I've been asking Pookie, you need to connect me with the people that are involved with the water law. She goes, oh, you know how Pookie is. Oh, my sister. I will connect you with Shelley. And so sure enough, Shelley and I have now connected by email and by Facebook Messenger, and now here today. I didn't even know that you were going to be part of this canoe ride. And so it's like a prayer fulfilled. And I know, I know that we will be working together doing work, sacred work. As Chief Phil Lane shared, we do these sacred activism Peace Sunday broadcasts. It's a Peace Sunday revolution. We were celebrating peace once a year for the United Nations International Day of Peace. We've done that for many, many, many years. The very first time Peace Sunday happened was in 1982, June 6th, in the Rose Bowl in Southern California. It was bringing all the sacred activists, interfaith leaders, indigenous elders, the most greatest singers at the time. And it was to stop nuclear proliferation, put a freeze on the path that we were going. United States was headed towards a nuclear war with Iran. And it was successful. Over 100,000 people came together at the Rose Bowl and made an impact, collaborative impact, raising awareness, raising our consciousness of the dangers that are out there that impact us, our children, our Mother Earth, all of the elementals that we depend on, our future generations. And I feel that with the water law, it is exactly what we need to lead us collectively to make that next impact, because who would have ever thought that we would be paying $5 to $10 for a bottle of water? So many regions of the world cannot have access to water. They walk for miles and miles in dangerous areas, especially the women, and we need to have laws that allows for the water to be free, accessible, and clean for all. This is our birthright. This is our birthright. For it to be privatized, to line the pockets of these major corporations, Nestle, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, many others, it is so wrong. It's an injustice. And the only way that you can really, truly counter any injustice is, you're right, we need to set up laws to safeguard our rivers, our mountains, our lands, sacred lands, and water. We're going to be putting together a broadcast that we previously did on Standing Rock. And the whole movement of Standing Rock was to protect the water. They were going to build this pipeline underneath the water. How do you even conceive of something like that? The pipeline has broken many times before and leaked. For them to go underneath the river that supplies river water down the stream that impacts over, 30 million people, not just the people, but everything, the trees, the animals, everything. And so although Standing Rock was not successful in stopping DAPL pipeline, they were successful in bringing together many nations from around the world, unified the Native American nations that were fractured for so many generations. But the bringing together of all of the other nations from around the world to stand in solidarity, whether they were there physically or spiritually, virtually, that was like a prophecy fulfillment. It is a prophecy fulfillment. It was a prophecy fulfillment. The Black Snake prophecy, the reunion of the eagle, condor, and quetzal, the bringing together of the rainbow tribe. And the rainbow tribe is all of us, all of our different diverse cultures and languages and spiritual traditions. We are the rainbow tribe. And so whatever I can do, my sister, to help propel this forward, definitely we need to do a sacred activism broadcast to raise awareness. And Ben and I were definitely going to be collaborating to really bring this to the forefront. This is our 39th anniversary from the very first Peace Sunday. Next year is the 40th anniversary, and so we're gearing up for that. Just as it was successful in Southern California in stopping the nuclear proliferation, we can do the same with water, the water law. And it's all of us coming together. This is just the beginning. And so I just want to steep bows for the work, for the commitment, persistence. You're going to come up with a lot of challenges, but if we all stay together, unified to make that difference, it will happen. It's preordained. It's already happened. We're just coming together to now collectively manifest it. And so Sue and I must have been dreaming about the same song. And it's the grandmother's song, the water song. And this video, I love it because it reminds me of my grandmother Pele. She was such a fierce warrior, Samoan, and my other lineage is Hawaiian from my father's side, Samoan on my mother's side. So we're going to play this song, and then I'm going to close us with a Samoan Hawaiian prayer. And just blessings to all. Thank you for all that we're doing together, this sacred song and dance. Thank you. And Tanja, blessings, sister.
Granddaughter, the water can hear you. The water has memory.
Nibi, Wabo, Endayan,
Nibi, Wabo, Endayan, Aki Mismi, Nibi, Wabo, Heya, 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 Heya.
Water is the life's blood of our mother, the earth. Water is the lifeblood of our own body.
Nibi, Wabo, Endayan, Aki Mismi, Nibi, Wabo, Heya, 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 Ho.
To continue to pass on the knowledge that needs to be given unto the other generations. You are the keeper of the water.
Nibi, Wabo, Endayan, Aki Mismi, Nibi, Wabo, Heya, 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 Ho.
To make the change in this life condition that we're in, that great-grandchildren will stand up to
to this truth of what life is about and to live it in such an honorable way, the way ancestors came to this earth.
Libi wabo endayen aki miskwi libi wabo heya 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 hey heya 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 ho.
Each day when the sun rises, no matter how bad the day before might have been, there's a new chance for your hopes and dreams. And I say, Chimigwech, thank you for singing the water song.
Nibi wabo endayen aki miskwi nibi wabo heya 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 hey heya 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 ho.
Thank you, Tanja. The fact that Sue and I came up with the same song is an affirmation that we are right on point. Our ancestors are with us, guiding us. Creator is with us, and we are up for this challenge. This water has been gathered by many water protectors, many sacred ceremonies for many decades. The most recent was in the Shinnecock Nation in New Jersey with many of the water protector leaders, Ladonna, Chief Arvo Looking Horse, Paula, Faith Spotted Eagle, Bobby Jean, who was one of the youth that led that run. We all gathered. We brought our sacred waters. Antipua Case, one of our fiercest warriors, protecting Mauna Kea, our sacred mountain in the Big Island. We all came together, bringing our collective sacred waters from many different ceremonies. My waters included ceremonies in the Guatemala forest with ancient Mayan, practitioners and elders. Costa Rica, gathering at fire ceremonies. Pacific Island region, and also interfaith gatherings with the United Religions Initiative, the Parliament of the World's Religions. All of those waters are combined here. And not only is water sacred, we are water. We are the water law. We are the water protectors. Water is love. We all come from love. We all will return to love. Love is God. Water is God. For anyone to say that the word sacred almost seems profane, too bad. Water is feminine. Water is divine. The majority of our body and Mother Earth is water. We must honor it. Honor each other, honor all creation, honor all life. By doing so, we honor the Creator, Leatua Keakua, our mother and father as one. Leatua Keakua, Tinama Tama, Whawhetai lava molinea wanoa watato mai whatasi. Whawhetai tele lava mo le tato ainga tasi. E watu ia te oe muamua lava, le alofa ma le whawhetai ma le ava. Sosoani mai mato uma, tato uma o le ainga tasi. Whawhetai le atua ke akua, whawhetai tele lava mo le vai whawhetai. Mahalo nui loa. Amen. I won't translate it, but I know that you will understand it. From my heart to your heart, from my water to your water, we are connected and binded together as one. One global family, one love, one heart. And we're going to do this sacred journey on this magical canoe ride. So strap on your life jackets, put on your sparkle goggles, because we're going to make it happen. And thank you for all your work and dedication. Thank you, Jim and Sue, for inviting me here. Thank you, Krista, for sharing. And Tanja for supporting technically and everything else, and all the others seen and unseen behind doing the sacred work. Together we will get it done. Amen. Thank you.
Beautiful, Laura. Thank you. And thanks for being here. I know everything started to evolve last minute, but that's going to be this whole week. So
That's how it flows. We flow like water.
Yep. And I'm sure we'll be seeing each other, all of us, as we go through this, because there's some amazing pieces coming. I see that our sister Shannon Crossbear was listening earlier, and she'll be involved later on in the week with some things here. But she wanted just a quick mention that Enbridge Line 3 is now going on. That's the new Standing Rock in our part of the world. So she wants everybody, if we can, to hold energy around that, just like we did in Standing Rock, just like we are in Stonehenge, and bring down Line 3, just like we brought down DAPL, because now it's dead. It took 6 years, but it's not the time, it's the outcome. So thanks to Shannon Crossbear. And she'll be doing some nice programs later. Has a great one for kids with puppets. So if you have young people who enjoy puppets, make sure, and I like them. So anyway, boy, and we're actually almost on time. Originally, this was going to be a short session, and then we moved it to an hour. And then I just sensed that's not good. We did 90 minutes, and we have completely filled it. So thanks to everybody here. Those who spoke, those who sang, those who created the energy to go forward. We are the change. We are the World Water Law. We are still the media, so we have to keep that up. Let's keep sharing each other's efforts all over the place, because that's how this will work. That's how we will unite as one and just see another human being holding out their hand and nothing else. That's all we need to see. Thanks to our brother Phil, too, for coming in and opening up. Shelley, anything to end it, or?
Yeah, I just really want to end it with my huge gratitude to you, Jim, because you've been a partner from the beginning and an amazing partner, and so much has happened through you and with you, and it's just such a pleasure and an honor to walk alongside you on this, with this, and thank you. I mean, just look at this amazing group that you've pulled together. Thank you, LauraSa, for the most beautiful, beautiful blessing and honoring, and so looking forward to working with you and getting to know you better. Thank you, Tanja, and just thank you, everybody. It's just such a pleasure to be here, and thank you for dreaming the World Water Law into being, and helping to manifest it in whatever way you feel it accurate. There's space and place for everyone to take their role and be on the mystery of how it wants to happen through us, because I really feel like water is leading the way, and we're just trying to listen to the messages of what wants to happen next. And this has been a beautiful part of that journey. Thank you, Sue, for your beautiful songs, and wonderful to get to know you all, Louisa and Krista, Roberta.
Yeah. Yes, it's a
Thank
good.
you.
Laura, you mentioned at one point, and I'll just follow up with Shelley on that, about dreaming this. And many cultures believe, and many prophecies are saying, we have already dreamed this. We have already dreamed success. We need to stay strong. We need to unite. We need to keep working at it, and we will win. Just like DAPL took 6 years, we'll win this too. Thank you all. This was awesome. shortly we will have at 12 o'clock, we're going to shift to Sweden and do a friend is going to do a water ceremony there.
Roberta, I think, wants to say something.
Oh, sorry.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, I was listening and planning to go to a camp in Minnesota. I'm in the process of getting ready to go to this camp. I think it's stop line 5 in Waban, Minnesota.
Line 3.
Yeah, line 3.
Yeah.
So I'm planning to go there, right? I'm in the process of looking for a ride, but I did want to tell of the video that I watched. I work for Indian Country Today, Paul DeMan, up here in LCO Reservation in Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
So he showed me a video of the camp that I'm going to. The lady, I think her last name was Abid. I can't remember the first name, but she was it showed that she was in a wigwam, and there was police all around the wigwam ready to haul her in. So this was at one of the camps, and the woman was inside. Have you seen that video?
Yes, and people should really, if you want to go on Facebook, remember again, we are the media. There's a lot of videos out there. There's a lot of things going on at Line 3 camp. We're going to try to get some more in about that, Roberta, later in the week. No one has stepped forward to do a program, but we're gonna work on that.
Okay, I just wanted to
thank you.
add that. Okay, could I add what I wanted to say? That'll take 1 second.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was it.
No.
Go ahead.
What I wanted to say was that the lady, the police were trying to haul her in, but she was yelling from inside of the wigwam, and she was saying that we're under the 1855 treaty. She was telling the law enforcement, you are the ones that are trespassing, and Enbridge is trespassing. So the 1855 treaty, we think, is what made the police blink right after the woman yelled from inside of the wigwam that this is the 1850, we're under the 1855 treaty. It was like, maybe that's the ticket or part of something. So the police officer that was outside of the wigwam, he called somebody, and it showed the video. He called somebody, and then whoever his boss was, he told all the police officers that surrounded this woman's wigwam, they said, get out of there. So anyway, my thoughts are it had something to do with the 1855 treaty.
And the energy. Thank you, Roberta.
You're welcome.
Washtela. So as we head out, get ready for the next one. Let's do one more video. Shelley has a wonderful World Water Alliance video. It's short, so we can exit that way. Thank you all once again. And Roberta, thank you for that update and bringing in current actions.
Wow, this could really change everything.
What if?
What if?
What if? So, what if?
What if we can shift our attention
From the noise of politics and media
to focus on a natural solution
that effectively addresses global corruption, destruction, and disease?
Imagine if we could simultaneously heal our bodies, our minds, and the environment.
And ensure a thriving world for all living beings.
Imagine a new way of organizing ourselves as a species that is rooted
In nature, truth, compassion, wisdom, and integrity.
Well, consider this.
Consider water.
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 99.9% of the molecules in our bodies are water.
We are water bodies, and like every other living being on Earth, we depend on healthy water to survive and thrive.
Water has no boundaries.
It is constantly in circulation, through us, between us,
and throughout the entire planetary ecosystem.
The natural law of water is to give life and vitality to all living beings.
without privilege or prejudice.
When humanity goes against this law,
We catalyze a domino effect
of disease and devastation.
throughout our social and ecological systems.
When we unify and collaborate to restore this essential law of nature
and prioritize healthy water for all.
We put in place an exponential healing process that strengthens our individual and collective immune systems.
The proposal for a world water law
is a citizen-led initiative that calls for
and works towards a binding international agreement
to ensure the immediate protection and restoration of the planetary waters and water cycle.
It guarantees the free access for all humans and animals to natural, uncontaminated water.
It holds all governments, corporations, communities, and individuals accountable for their impact on all waters everywhere.
The law of water is an original law of nature that supersedes all man-made laws.
And will dissolve all laws that go against life.
Will you please join the Global Alliance for a World Water Law?
And add your voice.
Add your voice.
Add your voice.
And add your voice to make the World Water Law a global reality.
Yes! Together we rise for water.
Together we rise for all of life.
Thank you, water.
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 Powerful. In the Pacific Islands, mana is the word. It's sacred power. That was monified.
And away we go. Thank you all. Like Laura said, just the beginning of the next step. Stelo.
We're out.
Okay. Do I need to go out and back in order to get the recording? Is that how it works?
You need to stop the recording now.
Okay, stop.